Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, today we have a very, very, very special guest. Proud new papa, Sean Coyne, the pitching coach of the Dodger system this last year at Great Lakes. Sean, congratulations on obviously your career so far, but more so becoming a father for the first time, correct?
Yes, first time.
Okay, man. Well, tell us how all that went and how that's changed you already.
Yeah, no, it was a pretty crazy experience. Just woke up on November 13th in the morning. Our due date was originally November 8th, so we were kind of in limbo for a few days. But my wife and I were just trying to stay positive, know that the baby was happy and healthy every checkup we had. So we were trying to keep each other calm and relaxed, and she was going to make it when she was going to make it. But woke up on the 13th. She was like, I think I'm having some contractions, but I'm not sure. But we already had an appointment that morning. So I was like, all right, well, we might as well go, see what happens. And then her water ended up breaking while we were there. So then we were like, all right, here we go. And then 5:45 that night, our daughter, made her grand entrance into the world. And, nice. We're about 2 weeks in now. So things are going well. Things are going good. Mama's healthy. Baby's healthy. I would say, change so far on it probably has just been like the patience factor. Cause she doesn't, use words. She just yells. So it's just like having the patience and understanding that we're not going to be perfect. We're not going to get everything right. She's not going to be quiet for 24 hours a day. So it's just being a little patient, communicating well with, me and my wife, and, we're doing this as a team. So that's the important piece, is that we're a team. We're doing this together and we're doing a great job. So
what the hell do we do? I don't know. Get out the manual. Well, there isn't a manual, right? Is that how that goes?
Pretty much. We're like, have you tried this thing? I saw this thing on Instagram. Do you want to try this? And it was like, yeah, why not? So, we're just spitballing back and forth. We're both trying to figure it out as we go along.
All right, man, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice here. You're not going to know how great of a dad you are until you watch her strike out for the first time.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see when that happens.
Okay, very good. Very good. Well, congratulations on that. Is Westmont going to be any good this year?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure they're full-blown into Division II now.
Yes.
Bailey Reed, who's a former teammate of mine.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about him.
Yeah, he's now the pitching coach there.
Oh, okay, great. Awesome.
So he and I talked a little bit, over when he was thinking about applying or wanting to interview. He kind of asked me my 2 cents about when I was there. Bailey's great. He's going to work hard. He's, he knows the culture, he knows the program. And Coach Fagnes has, pretty much won everywhere he's gone. So I'm sure they got some pretty high hopes for this year, which will be exciting.
I've got some advice for Bailey Reed's pitchers. You better enjoy studying the game of baseball, because you are going to study the game of baseball if Bailey Reed is your coach. No doubt about that. Okay, so let's go here. I talk about this every single time with warm climate guys, because I am the biggest weenie in the world when it comes to cold weather. You're a SoCal boy. You're in Midland, Michigan, and it's 32 degrees and probably half sleeting, snowing. And don't lie to me, you're freezing your ass off. How do you deal with that?
Yeah. I think you had an interview with JT, Joe Thon, earlier this offseason, but it would have been funny because if you had known this before, but so in the dugout, it was always Jair, JT, and then myself.
Yeah. Okay.
And JT always knew when I started getting cold because I wouldn't shiver, or I would just have my hands in my pockets.
Oh yeah.
And beanie on, parka on, whatever. And I would just start throwing out, if I had to write stuff on a chart, I would just start mumbling to myself, louder and louder. I'd punch the thing, God dang it, I'm so cold. This is pissing me off. Most of the time I would try and I'm tougher than this. I'm not going to think that I'm cold. I'm just going to watch the game. I'm going to focus.
How'd that go for you?
I mean, there were times where I'd make it 4 innings, because I always like wearing my jersey. It's just a respect thing. I'm grateful to have it. I'm grateful to have my own. So I always think it's a respect thing, and I always think it looks good. So I would always go out of the tunnel with my jersey on, and I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going to make it as far as I can. And I would usually make it to about the 4th inning, and I'm like, screw this, I'm getting my jacket. Like, I can't do this anymore.
Absolutely. Any trips to the clubhouse?
Sometimes, like if a starter was like absolutely rolling and like he didn't need me, I didn't need him, it was like, all right, man, I'll see you in like 10 minutes. I'm gonna go check on something.
I gotta go make me a pot of coffee, right?
Yeah, but no, not too much, because this year they got these like huge industrial heaters.
Oh yeah.
They said that they were the same ones that the Tigers have or use.
Yeah. You believe it?
I mean, at times, but then all of our guys would just hoard in front of it, and I never felt it anyway.
Yeah.
But when they had those two things pumping, since I'm not on the top step when we hit anyway, I would just kind of like pit stop back and forth between those, and I would be okay. So I didn't go in too much.
Yeah.
There were a few times where I'm like, all right, F this, I'm going in.
Yeah. Yeah. Just know the baseball players, they're brothers, but they're like cattle at a feed trough, man. It is first come, first served. And there's like no guilt to it either. It's like, I'm hogging the heat here.
Yep. And then we would have one like right down the main part of the tunnel. So all the guys who were like on deck in the hole, the guys who were like supposed to be on deck would like take a couple extra time. Like guy would get out, they'd be like, I don't need to go in the on deck circle yet. I'm just going to hang out here for a couple extra minutes, stick my hands in front of the heater. But yeah, no, everyone was hoarding around like penguins, just sticking to the heaters.
Okay, man. Enough with the fun. I beat you up with the fun enough. So let's dive right into this. The one guy that I get so many questions about, Ronaldo Yean. Talk about him, the year he had, and the upside of him.
Yeah, I think Yean, definitely an adjustment curve for him this year. I mean, I think the cold got him pretty good at the beginning of the season. Like we weren't seeing a ton of like the 100 to 102s. That we were accustomed to like seeing with Tronky and Rancho the past 2 years. You still saw the flashes where he'd go out, throw 10 to 12 pitches, sit 98 to 99, punch out 2, and you're like, all right, cool, there he is. He just kind of like struggled to really put those things consistently together this year. But I think definitely early on, it was a big adjustment for him with the jump of level, and also just like adapting to like, how do I get my gigantic 6'4", 6'5", 240-pound frame moving like I want it to move in 32 degrees. So that was definitely a big learning curve for him. A lot of communication with myself and Dominguez in the office between outings, just like, what can we do better? How can we adjust it? What are things that you really like to do to prepare, but how can we try to like either expedite, maybe shave some things off, add some things so your body has the chance to be fully ready to do what you want it to do when we call your name to go out on the mound. But towards the end of the year, he started to kind of string it together. I think he just got comfortable with the level, knowing what he needed to do, being able to recognize when his bad outings were coming about, when his good outings were, kind of like what the components of those outings were. Lots of meetings in the office just to kind of walk through things, make sure we were all on the same page. But definitely kind of finished on a high note the last like month and a half, 2 months, especially after he came back from the All-Star break. He kind of worked his way back into, being that guy that we're like, I mean, if we throw a Yean in the 7th, 8th, or 9th, we should be good. We should be good.
Yeah. So is he kind of in that kind of in that middle where he's trying to figure out just how hard can I consistently throw and also throw strikes? Both I know that I can throw strikes maybe at 97, 98. I also know I can throw at 105. But what's the perfect mix with that? Is he in the middle of that maybe?
Yeah, I think there's like a tiny bit of like he knows he can let it fly, but also knows that sometimes when he lets it fly, he also lets it fly. And I think, towards the beginning of the year, like he had a decent amount of hit by pitches. Some guys were like going down pretty hard, and you could kind of see like like, I got to figure this out kind of face. And most of it from our end was just like instilling the confidence that like, dude, you can put a ball on a tee majority of the time and people are gonna have a really hard time hitting it. So it's just like trying to strip away trying to be really fine and be like, oh, I'm going to be 98, like on the glove side half, or I'm going to be 98 in the upper half. It's like, dude, let's just go wherever that comfort, that cruise control, that third gear, most of the time it was about 99 to 100. It's like, let's just calibrate ourselves to the middle. And then if we come out it one day and it's a high adrenaline situation and you're 100 to 102, it's like, don't run from it, like lean into it, but still keep the backbone the same thing. Like keep our focus is the same. No matter if there's going to be days where he's going to throw 103, there might be some days where he throws 98, depending on how he's feeling. But it's like, if we can keep the focus consistent, I think that's what we started to see towards the end of the year, was like those things, no matter how he felt, we saw it when he went out and took the mound.
Man, you had a bunch of power arms like that. Christian Rubeck, I got to see him at OU. I mean, you watch this guy like one inning and you go, dang, man, this guy's like the most unhittable. He has the most unhittable stuff. It kind of reminds you of Madison Jeffrey. Then maybe he loses the strike zone a little bit every now and then. But he has a ton of potential. And then a guy that I've been trying to tell anybody who wants to listen about how much potential he has, and that's Alex McCarowitz. So can you talk about Christian Rubeck and AMAC maybe?
Yeah, I mean, those two, ironically, like those two are two peas in a pod. They were roommates on road trips.
Oh yeah.
Those are two guys that I probably got the closest with this year. Just having Rubeck, over the better part of the last 3 years, McCarowitz last year, and then having them again this year. They are extremely aware of how good they can be and how good they are extremely aware of their current pitfalls, which I think is like a huge win for both of them this season. Because before it was like, well, I'm really talented. Like, what's not working? Why isn't it working? And it'd be kind of like, hey guys, like, fastball in zone's like close to 40%. We're not throwing, like, we're relying on chase. We're doing all these things where we're getting swing and miss out of zone. And it's like, okay, well, why am I not perfect? But this year was kind of more of that growth mindset, like growth in the step forward, in the sense of like, I know what happens when I'm going bad. Like, I know I'm not throwing enough strikes, or I know that I'm doing this component with my delivery that causes me to miss. And I think for both of them, that was like a huge step. Mac obviously started the year in Rancho, went crazy for about a month, I think. Came up in like 5th or 6th week of the season. Immediately met with some growing pains, kind of had to change just like his overall like approach, his attack, that it's like, dude, you have arguably the best stuff in minor league baseball. Yeah. Like, you don't have to be perfect, but we also can't be like brainless or mindless when attacking guys. Like, you have 3 legit weapons. We can use them to set each other up. And it was just like working with him to be like, okay, when you see these types of swings, like, this is where we can go next, or we can stay right here. And it just kind of freed things up for him. And then I think it had to have been about the middle of July. Him and Dominguez kind of like retweaked his like pregame throwing. He did his normal catch play. We didn't do too much of that. But when he did his touches during the day, we had him stop throwing to a catcher. It was like, you're only throwing to a 9 pocket. And it was like, your misses are going to be uncomfortable. Like, because when you miss a 9 pocket, no one's saving you. It's just zipping down. You
talking about on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, when you miss the 9 pocket, there's no one there to save you. That thing's rattling down the.
So you're talking about down and in to a righty.
Anywhere in the 9 pocket. Like, when you miss, it's gone. It's going down towards our dugout. Everyone's like, what the hell is happening? Like, it's almost embarrassing. But it forced Mac in practice to be really fine, or really have like a very dedicated focus. And it was he had to tolerate failure. Once he started doing that in practice, he just got in the game. He's like, oh, this shit's easy. Like, this is easy. I can do this. Like, I have Frank back there sticking a ball and a half off the plate and getting the call. Like, oh, this is nothing. So I think that kind of practice style for him immediately translated to the game. We started talking a lot about like how golf guys practice, to where it's like, where are you missing? What's your miss? How do you favor this side of the green? And we were like translating that in pitching terms, and it like made a bunch of sense to him, freed him up, tweaked some pitch usage stuff, which I think helped a little bit, take some pressure off of his huge fastball. And then he became arguably one of our most reliable relievers down the final month as we were trying to push for the playoffs. Which was unbelievable to see from Mac. And then Rubeck had a really tough first month. He's always had the big fastball. He's always been able to blow it by people.
A slider.
But at the beginning of the year, he was throwing something ridiculous, like 65, 70% fastballs, and was always waiting to get to the slider until he was in put-away counts. And it was just like, dude, you have arguably one of the best sliders in our system. So it was like, and you got the cutter when you need it. Like, you have all these weapons, but you're just refusing to go down that route ahead in the count, even in the count, behind in the count. You're only waiting when you have the kill shot because you want to show how nasty it is. So he and I had a lot of long conversations, and I almost told him that I was like, I want you to be Andres Munoz. Everyone knows he throws 100, but he throws 60% sliders. Everybody on planet Earth knows he's got 100 miles an hour in his back pocket, but everyone's like, I can't sit on it because he's going to throw me a bunch of sliders. And like, in terms of release metrics, his release side, extension, release height, he's really, really close to Andres Munoz.
Yeah.
So it was like a really good comp for him to just like watch when he went home and just be like, what does this guy do? And then, of course, when he was in the playoffs pitching, he was like, Coyne, this guy never throws fastballs. I'm like, I know, that's kind of what I want you to do. But then once we got to, like, I think it was May 18th, it was a Sunday game against Lake County when kind of like everything flipped for Rubeck. And it was like, dude, you're going out there to throw sliders. When you have the chance, go blow a fastball up at the top of the zone. Go show everyone how hard you throw. But we're not doing that until you earn the respect with your slider. And once he started pitching like that, he immediately became the back end guy, the complement to Hobbs, the complement to McCarowicz, the complement to Cam Day at the end of the season. He was closing games. And we felt like at the end of the year, we had 4 closers. Because we had Cam Day, we had McCarowicz, we had Rubeck, and then we were never afraid to throw Kaba out there in crazy situations.
Yeah, no doubt.
We always felt towards the end of the year that this is what we were working towards. It was like, we got 4 closers. It doesn't matter who we throw at the end of the game. We got a chance to win, which was a huge credit to Mac and Rubeck because they really, really had a good 2025.
Miles Kaba, lefty out of Miami. I think he's pretty underrated, isn't he?
Yeah, I think if you had an interview with Jair in a week or two, I think he would say that Kaba was in his eyes, was like our most trusted reliever down the stretch. Like he showed up, flew in from Rancho, we let him, relax for the first day. We tried to get him in the second day. It's just like, hey, get your feet wet. Like, don't overthink this. You're at a new place, but let's go see what you got. And he was facing Lansing, threw a piss load of fastballs, and they just like dink and dunked his way around.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, what happened? What am I doing? And it's like, hey, we're good. But he, with, Brandon Bailey and Tronky down in Rancho, they had been working on a ton of complementary pitches. He had like a little like cutter, almost like a bullet slider, throw more curveballs, a bigger slider. But in Rancho, he never really needed it. He could just blow fastballs and just let them fly at the top. He's got, crazy throw. It's like very deceptive. It's very high, very front side. Then he gets really low slot extension. It just kind of jumps on you. So he tried, he didn't really need the secondary pitches. And then he showed up to Great Lakes and was like, oh my God, I need these.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of our conversations at the beginning, was like, how can we open counts with this pitch? What do we want? What are our contact pitches? What are our put away pitches? What do we like versus right? What do we like versus left? And it was mainly just kind of like pushing to him, be like, you identify within yourself, who are you and what do you want to be? And then I'll give you the information so you can go apply it. Like, I don't want to steer you in this direction or this direction. Who do you want to be as a reliever? And then I'll kind of just like put the bump rails up for you. And then I remember, it had to have been 12, 13 games into Kaba's tenure. I like peeked up at one point at the board behind me where it has their stats. And I was like, how's Kaba doing? Because I look at every stat under the sun. I don't necessarily always look at ERA and whip and things like that. But I turn around and it's like he's got 21 punch outs and like 1 walk. And I was like, golly, he's throwing.
Yeah, but his ERA was like 4, and you're like, how in the hell does it?
Yeah, because he just had 1 blow up right when he got there. So, but no, it was a testament to him. Like, he busted his tail every day. He was in the office from the time he showed up. He was probably one of the ones in the office the most, just asking questions, wanting to learn more, wanting to build on the things that we were talking about outside, go over his previous outings, identify, like, I was in between this pitch and this pitch. What did you want? This is what I wanted. And just a lot of conversations to help clear things up for him. So then when he did go take the mound, it was like, I know what I'm doing. I know my scout report. I know my strengths. I just need to put the ball where I need to put it, and everything's going to take care of itself. And then that's when he kind of went on that crazy run for the final 4 weeks in August where it was like Caba's untouchable.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, got to ask you, do you have no street cred to call him corn on the Caba, or is that just a Rob Hill thing?
I think that's just a Rob thing.
Okay.
No, Caba, most of the time, I felt weird sometimes calling him Miles. I had to do it like once or twice to like get his attention, but most of the time it was just like Cobb, Caba, Cobbs.
Yeah.
Jair loves calling him.
It's too much of a baseball name. You can't just bypass Cobb or Caba. You can go to Miles, all right?
Yeah, it just worked. It just worked.
Absolutely. Okay, Carson Hobbs, a young man, another guy, unbelievably underrated. Has he hit 100 yet in a game?
I don't think so.
Oh, he's hit like 99.9.
Yeah, he got really close with me in Fresno last year. Man. And then this year...
Come on, Coyne. We got to do something to get this dude to hit the triple digits.
I know. We got his slider a lot harder, but the meter didn't follow, unfortunately.
He's good, though, isn't he? Talk about Carson Hobbs.
He is an absolute savage. He's an absolute savage. He's a guy that, like, everyone always loves to ask, like, with your team, like, who do you think's a big leaguer? Who do you think's going to be a big leaguer? Like, who do you think can make it out? And it's like, it's a crapshoot anyway with, guys in A-ball, and you want them all to make it. The odds aren't in their favor. You coach them all like that they're going to make it. But I don't think I could ever bet against the dog in Carson Hobbs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no matter the situation, no matter the middle of the lineup, the bottom of the lineup, tie game, 1 run, up 10, down 10, like, he treats every game the right way. Like, it's like, I'm going out there to prove a point. This is Game 7 of the World Series, whether it's 32 degrees in Lansing, Michigan, or I'm in Dodger Stadium. Like, he treats every outing the same, and I think that was like the biggest treat for me watching him this year compared to when I got him last year, because he was fresh off of TJ. He was wide-eyed, just like, I'm excited to come out and just chuck the piss out of it. I'm back in games. This is so exciting. And then this year was just like a huge growth of, dominate in the strike zone, dominate. Like, we changed where he set up on the rubber a little bit to try and get him a better angle. His slider was diabolical from the third base side. Myself and Duran in spring training were talking about Carson because we didn't know if I was going to get him or if Duran was going to get him. So we were both kind of spitballing back and forth about ideas, and we wanted to move him on the rubber because he took a lot of damage versus lefties in Great Lakes in 2024. So then we ended up doing some research, finding out that we wanted him on the third base side of the rubber. And then once we saw him against hitters, it was like, oh, they're done. Like,
as a right-hander.
Yeah, as a right-hander.
Does that give a crossfire look to it, or is it, what's the?
Yeah, it's because Carson has like, it's very top, like upright over the top.
Yes.
He has like a decent amount of side bend to his left side. His stride is usually pretty in line, maybe slightly open, but it's like the fact that he can like barrel down to the glove side almost makes his fastball look like it's cutting to righties.
Yes.
And it's like has that feeling that it's like continuing to come into lefties. Yeah. And once we moved him over there, his slider got a little bit harder because he was like, now I can just throw it down the middle and watch it go left.
Okay.
So it freed him up a little bit there, but that angle coming into lefties and away from righties, they had horrible times trying to figure out, is it this one or is it this one? And he also just executed his slider at an insane clip when he was in Great Lakes. And, he carried on and did it in Tulsa. But he just executed the glove side extremely well. It was able to drive the fastball down there. So guys really had no idea of, like, they had to make a decision. It's either a 97-mile-an-hour fastball or a 91-mile-an-hour slider. If I guess wrong either way, I'm going to look like an idiot. Mm-hmm. So he just dominated that. And then once he got the curveball going towards the end of his time in Great Lakes, it was this big old 82-mile-an-hour banger. And it was like guys are sitting there like, I got to be ready for 97, got to be ready for 97. He dropped this thing in with 2 strikes, and we'd all in the dugout just go nuts because it was always a sight to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Cruise control, Nicholas Cruz, he's like 92, 93, and it never looks like he's in a hurry. It never looks like the game ever speeds up on him. What in the hell has made Nicholas Cruz so good? I mean, this guy, was really, really, of course, I think it's probably execution, but talk about that.
Yeah, no, Nico probably has the slowest heart rate of any pitcher I think I've ever been with. I'd have to like rack my brain, but like he's definitely top 3. Like just stoic face. You know, you give him the plan, you tell him who he's got, and it's just like, okay. You know, especially when we were going in those battles with like West Michigan towards the end of the year. And it was like, you know, you got, you know, Pacheco coming up. This was after Clark and all the McGonigal and all them had left. But it was like they still had a really, really good lineup at the end of the season. It was like, oh, you have Peyton Graham, Isaac Pacheco, and another guy right behind him. And he would just be like, okay. Like, oh, I need to throw this pitch to this guy and this pitch to this guy. Okay. And it was just like and then it would just lock in on the task at hand. So I think that's his best trait is he doesn't really get fazed by who he faces, what the situation of the game is. He's just like, what do I need to do? Now I just need to go do it. And like he looks at it very black and white, and he's a really good strike thrower. So I think it just frees him up and makes the game a lot easier than it can be sometimes. Yeah.
Did you ask Rubeck anything about Peyton Graham? They were teammates there, don't you?
Oh yeah. I told him that, I forget what series it was. I think it was the first time we played him at their place.
I bet Rubeck wanted to face him, didn't he?
He did. Oh, he did.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember if it was the first time or the second time he faced him, but we were like going to try and set him up with sliders and then like buzz a fastball like up and in because Graham liked to lean out over the plate. Mm-hmm. And Rubeck took his chance and kind of like got him like up here. And it was like Thursday, I think, in the series. And up until that point, like we didn't completely shut him down, but we had done a pretty good job. Yeah. But those final 3 days of the series, he just went bananas. And I was like, really,
he can hit.
Why'd you activate your boy? Like,
what'd you do? What are we doing here?
Why'd you activate his ability to like start raking off of us? Like we were doing okay. Now he's pissed.
And he weighs about 30 pounds, and you're like, this what? And then all of a sudden he's like 17 for 20 against you.
Yeah, no, he's a really good hitter. But no, obviously when guys when they know somebody on the other team, they know that I spend a good amount of time game planning every week.
Oh yeah.
So they'll usually come in Tuesday and they'll be like, "Hey, did you see so and so?" Be like, "Yeah, what do you got? Teammates? What do you?" And Rubeck did the same thing. He's like, "Hey, you look into Peyton Graham's?" "Oh, I looked into him." "Yeah, oh yeah. What do you got? I know you were teammates. Like, give it to me." So yeah. But yeah, no, guys love coming in and adding their 2 cents to their former teammates or their boys that they used to play with.
Maybe one of the most frustrating at bats. There's that lefty that just turns the ball and you never can get it on your barrel if you hit it to begin with. Evan Shaw, got to see him at KU. I got to see him shove against K-State in the Big 12 tournament in that big rivalry game and help his Jayhawks. Jayhawks are very good, by the way. In baseball, got that thing turned around. And he was a big part of that turnaround there at KU. Evan Shaw, what makes him so good?
Shaw... We started calling him the All-American man by the end of the year. He does everything. He just goes out there and just puts up zeros. He does everything the right way.
And it's like driving home. You don't remember any part of his outing. You just know that it's a zero.
Nope. Yeah, you just know that he got through it. And probably in about 7 pitches.
Yeah.
But no, he just, he went through some throw stuff in spring training this year to see if we can try and tweak out a little bit more of the output. But early on in the year, it was just like lean into the extreme angle. He was another guy that we pushed far first base side of the rubber. Okay. He already has like a tiny bit of like subtle crossfire throw, but like that low, almost like sidearm from all the way on the first base side was a complete problem for left-handed hitters.
Yeah.
And then we got the cutter velo up to like 88 to 90 off of like the 91, 92 mile an hour sinker. So it was like he could bear it into righties and then kind of just like play the East-West game off of it. But he just had a really, really good understanding of who he was as a pitcher, and he never deviated from it. He knew that his bread and butter was going to live with weak contact and balls in play, and trust that our defense was going to be where they were supposed to be. And then he was going to fill up the strike zone. And then as a byproduct, he was going to be in a lot of 0-2, 1-2 counts, and he was going to have his chance to get his punch outs. Mm-hmm. But he never tried to go get them when it was 0-0. And I think at the beginning of the year, he had a few little hiccups here and there, and he was trying to go get those punch outs. And it was like, Ev, take your outs. When you have your chances, you have one of the better sliders. Like, people don't understand, like, the velo difference, how much it breaks from where you throw it. Like, it's a visual, like, confusing piece of information to hitters. Lean on that. Like, they don't know how far it's going to break. They don't know how much slower it is than your sinker or your cutter. When you get to 2 strikes, trust your slider, go do your thing. And I think once he kind of shifted to that, you'd see I think he had one outing in the middle of July that was like 3 2/3 and like 38 pitches. And it was like he still had 3 or 4 punch outs. So it was like he could just rack them up quick. But once he stopped chasing them at the beginning of at-bats, it was just like he went on a run for God knows how long. Not cashing in inherited runs, putting up his zeros of his own, and just watching his ERA go like this all the way down.
Another guy reminds me of Ben Kasparius because he has a million different pitches, and they all have movement, and he has good velo. Big upside. Maybe Dodgers fans aren't aware of the name because he was an undrafted free agent as well. Now, Ben Kasparius was drafted, but just kind of the same plight moving forward. Cam Day. I mean, this is a guy that has starter stuff. He's reached 100 miles an hour. The movement is just like when I watch him, I'm like, I wouldn't want to hit off of that guy. Talk about Cam Day.
Yeah, Cam started the year in like that starter piggyback role, kind of like what he was in Rancho in 2024. And a lot of Cam's early season was, for lack of a better word, like almost an identity crisis. Like,
yeah, right.
He has the sinker. It's really effective. It's hard. It moves a ton. But like he also has elite swing and miss options. So he was always caught in this limbo of like, am I a strikeout pitcher or am I a contact pitcher? And he would get in situations where he should flip to strikeouts and be like, well, I'll just get contact and get out of the inning. And it would lead to a crooked number. And then times where he'd be like, I'm going to go for the swing and miss. And it's like, Cam, this is the time where we use our contact pitches. So he was just kind of like caught in between and kind of was just like scuffling about, like he put together good outings, have a little bit of a clunker, and he would just kind of go up and down. And then I want to say it was late June, I think, when we moved him to the bullpen. We had a phone call with Rob Hill, myself and Cam, and we just kind of laid it all out there of like, dude, your fastest way to the big leagues is probably as a reliever. You are, to your point, almost a carbon copy of Ben Kasparius.
Oh, really? That conversation was had?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
all the time.
Congratulations to me then.
Yeah, all the time. And it was just like, dude, you're watching Ben Kasparius in the big leagues.
Okay.
Right? He started Game 4 of the World Series last year. You are essentially him. You are down here in the minors. He's up there. So if that's your North Star, that's who we have to look at. And we wanted to shorten him up because it was like, we got to tap into the swing and miss stuff. Like, if you are going to be a major league pitcher, if you are going to be a major league pitcher for our team and our organization, you can have all the stuff in the world, but you got to be able to get people out, especially with punching tickets in our bullpen with the guys that we run out at the major league level. And his ability to lean on what he learned as a starter of like, I know how to get outs in the strike zone. That is important. But also now transitioning to a reliever, it's like, Cam, we need to teach you how to be a killer. Like, the moment somebody steps in the box against you, if it's the 9th inning, you have to get 3 outs. There's no holding back. There's no feeling our way into the game. It's go take down 3 batters with the best pitches and the best stuff that you have and see where it goes. And then it took a little bit for him to kind of get used to that bullpen life of, I don't know when I'm pitching anymore. Who am I going to face? What part of the game am I going to go into? And all these things. So we kind of had like a drawn out, almost like initiation process that it's like, Cam, on Monday, the first week we did, we're like, Cam, you're going to pitch on Wednesday and Saturday. I'm not going to tell you what part of the game, but so you know what days you're pitching. Then the following week, it was like, Cam, you're going to pitch twice this week. I'm not going to tell you what days, but you're going to pitch twice. Then the following week, it was like, hey, you're going to get 1 in the 9th. And then 1 in like the 6th, somewhere in that range. So he started to be like, okay, well, I know how to prepare the day that I know that I'm pitching. Now I have to learn how to do that when I'm pitching the 6th or I'm pitching the 9th. So it's like starting to get those wheels turning of like, how do I prepare as a reliever? How do I prepare for a certain role within a pitching staff for what I need to do? And then right after the All-Star break, it was basically like, yeah, you're one of our back-end guys. Just be ready for the 7th, 8th, or 9th. And then he would go out there, you'd see him flip the switch. He'd turn into a stone cold killer, sit 97 to 99, start ripping off 86 mile an hour sweepers. And it was like, yes, man, like this is the best version of you.
Yeah.
You go out there and you just take people down one by one. If the game calls for you to get contact, if the game calls for you to get outs within the strike zone, that's what you need to do. And those were the situations where we bring him in, like the final week against Lake County, where it's first and second, one out. It's like, Cam, I can't have you chasing strikeouts right now. We got to make something happen. You have the pitches to do it. Now let's just pick the right ones for the guy that we're facing and go let it fly. And then once you reset the deck and it's a clean inning, it's go get your punch outs, go kill somebody, go take them down one by one. And then his final month was a sight to see. And then he was probably one of the happier ones on the season when we ended our season in Lake County on that Sunday, and Jair came out and said that he was going to Tulsa. That was a pretty rewarding one, because I was like, damn, he went through the trenches for a while this year, and he went through a lot of growing pains last year in Rancho. So for him to get that this year was pretty fulfilling.
Okay, let's get into your starters. We've been talking about your relievers mostly, some big-time arms there.
Yeah.
Some big-time starters, too. Let's start with your right-handers, Patrick Coyne, Brooks Auger, but let's start with Patrick Coyne. Best story in baseball last year. For those of you who don't know, he got hit in the right eye with a baseball in August of 2024, lost his eyesight in his right eye, spent the entire offseason rehabbing, did not miss a start in 2025. Incredible story for Patrick Coyne. That's all fine and dandy, okay? Hey, we love the story. We love the good college try there. That's not what this story is, though. Patrick Coyne didn't just come back and make a great story for coming back. The great story of it is that he really made a splash in terms of how he pitched. Talked about him.
Yeah. Cope is, this was my third season with Cope. I was able to get him right after he got drafted in 23, had him for about the first half of the season in 24. So getting to be back with him again in 2025 was probably one of the things that I was the most excited about coming to Great Lakes, was that I got to be with Cope again. And most of that excitement just comes from the person that he is, and like the worker, just like the human, being around him, being around his work ethic, and the way he goes about his business is always a treat. So getting to do that again was extremely fulfilling for me. But also watching him take the mound on opening day on the same mound that, he took the comebacker from 6 months prior, be there again, kind of like overcome, like it wasn't even a question to me when they asked me like, hey, what do you want your rotation to be in Great Lakes this year? It's like, well, Patrick Coyne's starting on opening day. Like that is, there's no negotiation. He is starting, like he is going on that mound. He's overcoming what happened to him last year, and he's going to kickstart his big year doing it again. And then he immediately made a I'm back type statement on opening day.
He did.
And then watching, his growth in that season, and like the things I saw from him last year when he started to make that ascent to get to Great Lakes, getting to watch that all over again, but now at a higher level and ascend to AA. It was watching this kid. I'm like, God dang it. He's so good. Like he is so special. And just watching him go about navigating lineups 1, 2, 3 times, the amount of times he got into the 6th, 7th inning this year, going deep into games, getting close to 100 pitches, being the bona fide ace of our staff for 8 weeks. It was just like, you could ask anybody in our locker room once we hit the month of May, it was like they'd walk in, look at the lineup card and be like, oh, Cope's pitching? Oh, we're good. Like, we're just going to win today. Like, I would have relievers coming up to me and be like, hey, can I put my tennis shoes on today? Like, Cope's going to pitch. He's probably going to go 7, then we're probably going to go Hobbs, and then the game is over. So, like, can I put my tennis shoes on today? Like, that was the level of confidence that he was putting even within his own locker room. But he is something special. Like, he is going to be a treat to watch once he gets to his major league debut, because it's coming, and it's coming soon.
Another young man out of Mississippi State, has high-level experience, got to pitch in the College World Series, got off to a really, really fast start, then ran into kind of a brick wall there, if you will. Looks like he's kind of in the middle of maybe figuring out what the sequencing looks like to be the best version of himself, maybe what the execution should be based off of that. Brooks Auger, lots of talent.
huge amounts of talent. Brooks has a chance to be a really, really good starting pitcher. But
who would you compare him to at the major league level? Have you ever thought about that?
I mean, there were a few guys that we had talked about throughout the year of just kind of like, who he could look at, but it was always because the thing with Brooks was when he was a reliever, he was basically fastball slider. He had the changeup when he needed, especially when he starting in that SEC championship run. Yeah. But really he was fastball slider. So then now he had all these other pitches. So trying to like match it was always kind of a tweener ball. But one of the ones that we tried to almost go towards, and like this is very, very loose, but kind of like the Garrett Cole type model of like, you have the big fastball, but you need the secondary stuff to have as much fear for batters so the fastball can just continue to take impact. But they always have to worry about the secondary wrinkles and have the optionality to get right-handed, left-handed hitters out. So it's a very, very loose comparison for him. But the talent remains the same. Like he has, when his fastball is on, like it doesn't really get touched. It's really hard to square up. It's a weird angle. And like,
is it effectively wild? Maybe.
I think at times, I think towards the beginning or when his like meteoric rise started to kind of cool down, it was almost like he was throwing way too many strikes.
Yeah, right.
Like everybody knew that he was going to be in the strike zone, so they just started swinging. And he started getting hit here, hit here. And it was like, what the hell is going on?
Then the secondaries don't matter because they're hitting fastballs.
Exactly. And then he tried to take them out of zone with secondaries, but it was too non-competitive. They were easy takes. You'd fall behind in the count, and then everyone's like, all right, well, you know a heater's coming. I know a heater's coming. It's just a matter of where. You're throwing 70% strikes. I got a good chance. I'm just going to be on time for a fastball, and I'm going to go. So I think the majority of Brooks's growing pains this year was just learning how to be a starter. That like he is really effective in the strike zone, but you can also use that to your advantage to take guys out of the strike zone. And it was like picking and choosing your spots when to do that, of like identifying when teams are being hyper aggressive to you, that it's like, that's not the time to stand in the middle of the ring, drop the gloves and just go fastball, mano, over and over and over again. Because there's going to be some teams that you can beat like that, but over the long term, it's just really hard to. You have to have extreme levels of execution to do that.
No doubt.
So it was like trying to get him to rewire some things that he learned, kind of like had ingrained in him from Mississippi State as a reliever, that it's like, I'm going out there bowling a china shop and I'm just going to run through everybody. And it was almost trying to like still harness that mindset, but then focus it to a starter of like, you can be that, but you also have to kind of be cerebral and identify, I see this in your swing now. I see this in the way that you're standing in the box. I see the way that you're talking to your teammates, and now you're starting to jump me. Now's the time that I use the other stuff, because I'm still going to put you away with the big fastball. So it's just learning how to identify those things, because he never really had to do it before. But he's also rolling out there every 5 days. It's a pretty steep learning curve, so some of those adjustments took a lot longer than he really wanted them. But I think if you asked him, like, he's pretty upset with his 2025 season, but I think there was a lot of growth in a positive manner for him to take on 2026.
Totally agree. No doubt about it, especially the learning growth part of it. That's big time. Okay. Let's get into your lefties. I can't wait, man. Adam Serwinowski, man. This dude came over and it was like, whoa, this guy was, wow. Yeah, big ski. Ironically enough, when we faced him in Dayton, the first time we faced him in the season, I had relievers coming up to me in the dugout. They're like, hey, this guy looks like a Dodger. He looks like he'd be one of us. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like, I don't know. I mean, this is April, May in Dayton. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, he looks like he'd be one of us, but he's on the Reds. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And then Rob called me at the trade deadline after we have officially got him. It was like, hey, you're getting Adam Serwinowski. And I was like, wait, isn't that the lefty from Dayton? And he goes, oh yeah, it is. And I was like, oh boy, like here we go. I'm getting ready to be a lot better coach.
I was like, this is going to get fun. This is going to get fun. But no, he came over, and it was obviously, it's a lot going on because he got traded to Tampa, but then traded to us. Yeah. He got shipped between two teams. He's kind of like, what the hell's going on? So like when he first got there, it's just a lot of like, all right, Adam, you talk to us. What are you about? What do you like? It's almost like the deposition where it's like, you tell us, we're going to start kind of chewing through things, and then we'll find our spots to kind of like fill in and make you that better version of yourself. And he's a really straightforward, easygoing guy. Like it's, you know, he knows what he's really good at. He's willing to listen to coaching. He knows, but he also has that like filter that he's like, I know what I'm good at. I know who I am. I need to be better, but I also, if something doesn't make sense, like I'm not just going to blindly follow it. Like I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to make sure that this makes sense to me before I do it. Which I think is a really, really good trait to have for young pitchers. But he came in and it was just like, all right, this is what you do. This is what makes you really good. Here's some things that we do with the Dodgers that we want to like complement what you already do to kind of help facilitate. Most of that was just information, like information on hitters, information on game planning. I asked him what he had done previously. Like he had done a little bit, nothing like crazy in depth, but it was like, all right, we kind of do a lot. So I'm just going to give it to you. You can use it as much or as little as you want, but I want you to have it. Like just so if you need it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. It's fine. Because we kind of took the Blake Snell approach where he always had the cards in his hands. We started doing that in Great Lakes where it was like every guy had their own card. And Sirenowski gets to his first game. It's like second or third batter of the inning. He's in a 2-2 count, bunch of foul balls. He peeps back at his card, and I'm like, oh, my God, he's doing it. Puts it back in his pocket, executes the perfect 2-strike pitch, swing and miss to end the game, end the inning. And I was like, oh, this is going to get fun. Because the moment I saw him check it and then get his punch out, I was like, he's bought in. He's bought in. Yeah. Now he's like, oh, this works. I can trust.
When you say he got his card, what does that mean? I didn't follow that.
So you know how Blake Snell during the playoffs and like during the season, like he would always pull like a card out of his pocket, and it was.
Does that mean he's calling his own pitches?
Well, it's essentially a scout report. Like the scout report that the coaches have.
So how does he signal that to the catcher what pitch he wants to throw?
For us in the minors with fingers, he just shakes till he gets the one that he wants.
Gotcha.
But so we kind of like, I saw Blake Snell do it at the beginning of the season, and we were going through some growing pains with pitchers and catchers and calling the right stuff and trying to get too cute, too fancy.
Yeah.
So finally I just said, screw this. You're all getting your own cards. So it only has your pitch types on it. It only has what you do really well, what you're really good at. The pitchers, you guys are going to have one, and the catchers, you're going to have the exact same one. So there should be no confusion about where we're going, what we're trying to throw, what we're trying to do. And if a pitch call doesn't make sense to me, I'm going to go to the pitcher first. And if they're like, that's on me, I called it, or like I shook to it, that's the wrong call, that's my fault, then I can say, okay, good. And then the catchers would kind of be the secondary, be like, what do we got? Like, what did we do there? And they'd be like, oh, I saw this. I thought we could do this. And it's like, okay, great. As long as you have a thought process, reason for it, I can live and die by that. But let's now like talk about how we can navigate that better with this guy next time, or this or that or whatever. But when Sirenowski came over, we kind of handed it to him, and we were like, hey, man, you don't have to use this. I just want you to have it. You can look at it 0 times. You can look at it 50 times. I don't care. Use it as you see fit. And he was like, okay, like I'm probably not going to use it, but like, thanks. I was like, yeah, no problem. Third batter of the first inning, looks at it in a 2-2 count, gets his punch out with it. And then basically from there, he was looking at it in between every inning, sitting down with the catcher, with Frank, going through what he wanted to do. And then basically once he went out, it was like, I don't need to think about it anymore because I already have my plan. And then it was just a full-on assault of what his plan was. And he's also got a really, really good fastball and a really, really good breaking ball with a changeup that's enough of a wrinkle to throw guys off that when he started executing a slightly more detailed plan and like had full conviction in that plan with already really, really good stuff, he just exploded. And I'm pretty sure he won pitcher of the month in August.
He did.
And then he goes and earns his promotion to Tulsa, which, I mean, I was like, he's going to be there anyway next year, so it'll be good to get his feet wet. But no, he's going to be something special. Yeah. He's going to be something special.
Weird windup. I mean, can you describe that windup?
Yeah, it's very, it's like, it's, ironically, it's like pretty connected, like hands and legs, everything kind of comes up together. But then he's got that little hitch right when he comes down, like he gets some depth in his back leg and there's almost like a little bit of a hitch, but he somehow like times it up.
I wonder if he actually worked on that to develop that, or if it just came natural. That's just what happened.
I've seen some old versions, like, because he got drafted out of high school from the Reds. So like I saw some videos of him when like he came out of high school and like early on, and you could see the hitch, like it wasn't really there when he was coming out of high school. And then you could slowly start to see it like manifest in his throw over the last couple of years. And then now it's almost like a very loose, like Carter Capps like jump. Mm-hmm. He doesn't actually like jump, but that's what it like feels like when you're standing behind him and watching him throw towards you. That's almost what it looks like or feels like, that he's almost like hitch jumping towards you. And then all of a sudden 97 just explodes out of his hand. So
what's the rule on that as far as being engaged with the rubber?
Like I said, he doesn't actually jump, but it just looks that way because of when he goes down and kind of just like clutches his way out.
Okay.
I think the rule technically is you can't leave the ground.
Okay.
Like you could jump and drag your toe, but you can't leave the ground and then like re-engage with the ground and then throw.
Okay.
But yeah, that's almost like the visual effect that you get from his throw.
Yeah, absolutely. A guy that I think in a couple of years, Dodgers fans could be going, who the hell is this guy and where'd he come from? We're talking about Luke Fox, a lefty out of Duke. He was injured. He was on a leash in 2024, got let off the leash in 2025. This guy's good, man. He's one of your lefty crops that are really freaking good.
Yeah, Fox is a gamer. Like he's got a lot of thoughts. He's extremely smart, extremely intelligent.
Is that always good, or do you have to fight against that sometimes?
No, because I think with Fox, like there are some times where we fight against it, but that's just those are the ebbs and flows of the season.
Sure,
it doesn't. Some guys have no thoughts, and then they get in those pits. But no, with Fox, most of the time, it's good for him because it keeps him almost like forward thinking of like, am I getting comfortable to where I'm missing an opportunity to get better? Like, am I missing something that could take me to the next level? And it's like, that's kind of the thought process. Sometimes those thought processes can get a little too, oh, well, if I just did this crazy thing, I would be infinitely better. And it's like, oh, like time out. Back up. But that happens once in a blue moon. But for Fox, because of how smart he is, because of how well he sees the game, it's just mainly like keeping those thoughts and like the way that he thinks like locked in when he's on start day. That it's like using that as his superpower, that because he sees things really well and can process information at a really high level, it's like, let's lock in on like reading swings, understanding people's approaches against you, almost like playing chess. It's like if you're playing chess with somebody, you're not just going to blindly move your pieces across the board. You're going to make a move, and then you're trying to think what he's thinking for counter moves. You're trying to think 2 or 3 moves ahead, and it's almost like use that strategy for his level of thinking to help him navigate at bats, help him navigate a lineup once, twice, 3 times, to where it's like, how did you get this guy out the first time? Did it work? Did he show you anything that he could beat your A plan? No, do it again. Like, once he proves to you that he's now seeing your fastball, sees your cutter, sees your changeup, then we could lean on one of the other pitches that we know we can get him out with. But until he proves that to us, until he makes the counter move to our punch, we don't need to do anything. Let's keep it rolling. And I think that was the big one for him at the beginning of the year. To your point, now that the leash was off, it was like he's now exploring the 5th, the 6th, the 7th inning to where he's like, I got to reinvent the wheel in my starts. Like, I've never been this deep. And it's like, no, you don't. You just got to execute a little bit better. We got to show a couple more first pitch, secondary pitches that we haven't really thrown all day just to kind of back some guys off. It's like, now we're in the 10th round of a boxing match. They've seen you, you've seen him. Now we're just kind of dancing. We don't need to reinvent a new game plan. We just got to dance with them in the middle of the ring.
Nice. Nice.
So I think for him, that was like Fox arguably could have won pitcher of the month in May if Patrick Copen didn't exist. Like that's how good his month of May was. And then, you know, he got banged up a little bit towards like June, and then came off the IL, immediately had like a 2-3 inning outing where he was really, really good. And then it was like, all right, you're going to Tulsa. Mm-hmm. And then went through a little bit of those growing pains in Tulsa, just higher level hitters, a little bit less chase, like learning those nuances.
Double A is a big jump.
And then from there, it was like, oh, Fox has a better ERA than he did in high A, a higher punch out rate than he did in high A, and a lower walk rate than he did in high A. So it was like a lot of those growing pains that he and I kind of battled through with each other at the beginning of the year were like really starting to like line up into fruition for him when he got to Double A, and got to go with Duran, you know, new voice, new way of seeing things, and can continue to challenge his like high powered brain to like stay at the peak level of who he can be on the mound.
Absolutely. Okay, I kind of put them together, but talking about Luke Fox and then Wyatt Crowell. Wyatt Crowell has that, I don't know if you want to call it a sweeping slider. I don't know if that's a compliment anymore in today's day and age, because you have the bullet sliders and you have the sweepers, and you like to kind of make them both separate pitches. So the sweeping slider isn't necessarily a term that you use anymore, but a young man out of Florida State, unbelievably talented. His stuff metrically is incredible to watch.
Yeah, Crow can get swing and miss with the best.
Oh, yeah.
He can get swing and miss with the best of them. I mean, he's got to be at like 6. I think he was at 6 pitches by the time he left Great Lakes. Yeah. But it was like a lot of that came from us identifying what each pitch, what its purpose was within the whole plan of Wyatt Crowell. It's like, Crow, your superpower is to be able to get swing and miss below the strike zone and make people hit the ball not on the barrel of the bat. So it's like, let's find those pitches that fall under that bucket, and then let's find the pitches that fall under your ability to get swing and miss, and then how can we just marry those things together? How can we navigate at bats to get those quick outs, but then also when your back's against the wall, it's like you can go get 3 punch outs and get out of any inning.
Sounds like Ronan Kopp. Kind of sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, Crow's is like, Ronan could do that. Ronan always just has the fastball in his back pocket, whereas Crow kind of has to like song and dance you a little bit. Like, Crow, I mean, it was good to see Crow's velo start to creep back up towards like the middle of the season, especially like it wasn't fully where it was at when he was at Florida State, but it was definitely higher than it was last year, which was really, really good to see. But I think especially if Crow, you know, I know he bust his tail in the offseason to get himself back to that version because he knows how good he was when he was at that level at Florida State. So I think if Crow gets back to 94, 96 with the weapons that he has of secondary pitches and the things that he learned this year on being a starter that can go 5, 6, 7 innings, like he's going to be a big problem for hitters. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a really, really big problem.
He is. Okay, let's finish up our talk on lefties. Maddox Bruns, a guy that, hey, it's taken him a minute, and he's had his great moments. He's had moments to where he hasn't been able to perform because of health. He hasn't been able to perform just because he's not pitching well. So it's been a really big experience for Maddox Bruns so far since he's been drafted. Talk about him.
Yeah, this is the first time I got to be with Maddox again since 2023. And the last time I was with Maddox, he had a really, really good run in Rancho. He was there for like 5 weeks, was, you know, bona fide ace of our staff, like 3 or 4 shutout outings, ends up going to Great Lakes, pitches all the way to the end of the year, got close to 100 innings, pitched in the playoffs for them, like had a really, really productive 2023. And then, like you mentioned, it was just like, you know, the stuff with, you know, his ribs, the injuries, like the stuff that just kind of kept him off the field from being the peak version of himself. And then this year it was kind of like, all right, let's get this right. Let's get this figured out. And then once you head out, it's like, we got to get this right and we got to go. Like, it's time to perform. And early on, there were some signs of like, okay, he's getting his feet back under him in competition. Like, you saw the flashes of the first round talent. You saw the flashes that we saw in 2023 where you're like, this is a big time lefty arm. But then you'd be like, I can see that you've missed competition for a year.
Yeah.
You can just see those things in some of his outings at the beginning of the year. So it's just kind of like, all right, this is unfortunately the circumstances you've been dealt, but this is almost your spring training. You're going through those like build up growing pains of the beginning of your season. Yours is just happening in June. So it was like getting through those, and then he hit.
Did he buy into that? He's pretty competitive.
No, he is competitive. This was more of like on my end, on like the back burner of like, we got to be able to keep perspective. And for a little bit, it was like, okay, like I can see that. Like, okay, like when are we going to start getting to like the 5-6 inning outings and things like that? Like Maddox wants nothing more than to throw complete games every single time he's out there.
That's
like there's nothing that chaps his ass more than when we take him out of a game.
I know it.
So, which, I mean, for him being a left-handed starter, especially a guy in our organization, it's like that's a trait you're never going to get upset about. It's like, Maddox, I know you're pissed at me because we took you out of the game, but I'm never going to be upset at you for it because it's like I know you just want to go pitch. But then he hit like a pretty big low point, like right around the 4th of July.
He did.
Just like a couple bad outings that, walks, hits, stuff was down. And we finally were just like, man, like this is like, we're at a low. But we were heading to the All-Star break. He was going home to see his family. And I was like, hey, as best as you can, I want you to go home and see your family. Do not think about baseball for the next like 4 to 5 days. Don't think about what we need to change, what we need to fix, what you need to do to get better. Like, I want you to have a complete reset from the game of baseball. Like, go enjoy family time. Go be with your mom, dad, your sister. Go enjoy being home in Alabama. Let me go home. I will figure out how to right the ship. Let me wear that burden. You go home and get a reset. Nice. Let me wear the burden of trying to figure out how we're going to get this thing right. So then when we come back, you have a clear head. I have a plan. We can kind of put those two things together, and then we'll see where it takes us. And that's where, it was racking my head about the peak version of Maddox's throw that I had seen for the last 3 or 4 years, what he was doing right now, words and phrases that make sense to him, things that we were focusing on that we need to pivot. And it was kind of just like very black and white. We kind of came up with about 3 things because we wanted to keep it simple, but we needed it to be enough to where it was like,
yes,
this is going to take care of everything we need to take care of. So we had about 3 things that we were going to focus on, and it was like X, Y, Z. No more, no less. We're just going to go 100 miles an hour at those 3 things. And he got back to Dayton after being home with his family and threw a bullpen, one of the first 2 days we were back there. And it kind of clicked. Like you saw the light bulb start to like flicker a little bit, but we weren't quite there yet. And then the following week, it was like, I think I got it. Like, I think I got it right. I think this makes sense. It feels good. I think I'm on the right track. And then you kind of slowly started to see that, like the bumpy outings. He had one more tough outing in Fort Wayne. He had a really, really good Tuesday outing. I think this was the trade deadline. He had a really, I think it was 4 or 5 shutty on Tuesday. He went out, punched out the first 3 or 4 guys on Sunday, and then kind of crash landing. But then after that outing for the month of August, I want to say he had a 3.2 or maybe even a 3 ERA. Didn't miss a start. Was 26% punch, 10, 11% walk. It might have been 2-1 or 3-1 on the mound. Was going 5-6 innings. It was there's Maddox Bruns, the starter.
Yeah.
I think that reset from the All-Star break, that refocusing of what we needed to do on the mound kind of really cleared him up. And then it was hey man, I want you to be in Double-A more than anything, but if we keep worrying about it, we may never get there. Yep. So let's just dominate where our feet are right now and let's see where it takes us. And I think he really bought into that the final month. And I think that's why we started to see that this is the Maddox Bruns we kind of all know and love. That final 5 weeks of the season.
One last guy here. I've taken a bunch of your time. I really appreciate that. I know you're a new dad, so thank you so much for joining and for all this time, Sean. I really appreciate this. So let's talk about my man, maybe the MVP of the minor league system, because he will go anywhere and everywhere you ask him to go. Christian Romero.
Yeah. Paisa, Christian Romero.
What'd you say, Paisa?
Paisa. Yeah, it's a. I learned this from Roque, Romero, Zazueta, all the Mexicans that like to hang out with each other. Paisa is like a term of like fellow countrymen, or like my countrymen, or like my brother, my partner. And since I've had Romero for like 3 years. He was on the team in Arizona when I first got to the organization. So with me in Rancho. So now I've gotten to the level where Romero will call me Paisa. So we just go back and forth and call each other Paisa. But Romero, he's so talented. He can make the ball do almost anything. He had a little bit of a lull to start the year. I think he thought that he could have been somewhere else at the beginning of the year. And I think that was kind of like plaguing him a little bit, that he was like, oh, I was really good here last year. I'm just going to be good again. And it wasn't the case. And he kind of got roughed up a little bit the first like 5-6 weeks of the year. And we kind of had a long, tough conversation with him, myself, and Dominguez, that it was like, hey man, like this is not who you are. Like you are so much better than this. We need to get back to the things that make you the best version of yourself. The guy that the organization wants to go to Oklahoma City, wants to go to Tulsa to help fill in because you do these things so well. And like, we need to get back to that. And we need to get back to that version of yourself, because that's also the version that's going to get you to the big leagues. Whether that be with us or 29 other teams, he's going to be a big leaguer at some point. He throws too many strikes, has too many pitches, way too.
He's calm. A cool cat too.
Yeah, he's cool, calm, and collected as ever. Yeah. He's going to get there at some point. I don't know when, I don't know with who, but he's going to get there. He's going to mess around and be a big leaguer. But he finally kind of was like, we got back to some things that made him the best version of himself that he went through last year with David Anderson in Great Lakes. And it was like bringing some of those things back, retooling the way he was using his pitch arsenal versus righty versus lefty. And it was like make things a little bit more simple, but also that it's like, this is your strength. This is how we're going to get there. This is your strength. This is how we're going to get there versus left, versus right, ahead in the count, behind in the count. It was kind of just like, here are some roadmaps. Go down the roadmap. If you're in this situation, go this way. If you're in this situation, go this way. And it kind of freed him up to be like, oh, okay, this is easy again. I just go pitch. I see what's in front of me and I make my adjustments as needed. And then also he's going to throw 85% strikes along the way. So it kind of cultivated with, I remember, I think it was at the beginning of August, whenever we played Beloit. I think it was when we played Beloit. He came in the middle of the game, went 5 or 6 innings, went into extra innings, had faced the minimum from the 5th inning to the 10th inning with 1 out. He like was on the verge of throwing his own no-hitter, but from like the 5th inning of the game. Yeah. And like went all the way into extras, and we were like, Jair and I kept talking. He's like, do we want to go to someone in the bullpen? Do we want to go to someone in the bullpen? I was like, absolutely not. Like he is mowing everyone down. He's got plenty of pitches. We are good. And it was just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It was like every half inning we were out there for 4 minutes. And it was like, this is Christian Romero. Yeah. When he gets in on a run, it's like he can get you out 6 ways from Sunday. But out there for him, it's playing a video game. It's like, I can do this. I can put this pitch over here. I want to get this type of swing so I can get to this pitch and punch you out or roll you over. And then obviously he ended the year in OKC for a decent chunk of the year. And I think once he kind of got on that rhythm and then took it up there, it was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Yeah.
I was very proud of him because whenever he came up in 2024, he came straight from Great Lakes and he got roughed up pretty good in Oklahoma City. And he fought that demon right straight in the head, and he overcame that when he came back this last year. So I was very proud of him there.
He does not back down. He does not back down. He'll learn, he'll adjust. But as he's learning and adjusting, he's going to stand in the middle of the boxing ring. He's never going to go back to the corner.
Awesome deal. I think we'll leave Christian Zazueta to Tronky. I'm going to talk to Ramon Troncoso tomorrow. So I think we'll leave Zazueta to him because he was in Rancho for most of the year. So Sean Coyne, again, I've taken over an hour of your time. I know you're a new proud papa. This is so kind of you to do. But I'm not going to lie, I'm selfish because I just enjoy listening to you guys talk. It's amazing every time I hear you guys talk. Again, I think I know a little bit about baseball, but every time I hear you guys, I'm like, damn, there's a whole different level out there. So, Coyne, go ahead.
I would say I always appreciate it. I always love, giving back to you and how much you pour into our boys and our system. I love spending time talking about our guys and hyping them up. So, people out there, Dodger fans or anybody, get to learn a little bit more about somebody that they hope to see in Dodger Stadium one day. So it's always a pleasure of mine.
I didn't ask, what's the name of the baby?
Her name is Rory May. Rory May. Okay, fantastic. And also, my last question of the night, I can't forget about this. Your boy from Westmont that came to OSU, I love him. Sean Youngerman, got a chance to interview him, messaged back and forth several different times with Sean. One of the most competitive human beings. Not if, when will he make the major leagues? He got drafted by the Nationals, I believe, this year. Yep. So I think it'll depend on if they have him as a starter or reliever, because I know OSU couldn't even decide if they wanted him as a starter or reliever. Yeah. Like, he did everything at OSU.
We tried to tell him move him to the starting role. They finally did.
But with him, with how much he did at Westmont being a starter and going back and forth at OSU, like, I would imagine the quickest path for him would probably be as a reliever. Just with like the big fastball, the power slider, like, I would imagine it'd be a little bit quicker than that. So, I think on the optimistic, if he's a reliever and he keeps if he keeps developing the way he's been developing through he was in college, I would say 2.5 to 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years, maybe.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
If he goes the starter route, it might take him a little bit longer, just because I know he'll probably need to add some pitches, just go through the ebbs and flows of doing that at the professional level.
Master the change up a little bit better,
Yeah, just kind of like further round himself out as a pitcher. But I think if he goes as a reliever and he keeps doing what he's been doing, developing and doing that within the national system in pro ball, he's extremely talented.
He's a competitive sucker too.
Oh yeah, he wants to win. That kid wants to win.
He does. And OSU wasn't winning for the longest time, and it just pissed him off to no end. It was awesome to watch. Hey, Sean Coyne again, thank you so much. Get back to that beautiful family of yours, and great job this year. Congratulations on a wonderful career, and thank you so much.
Will do. Thank you very much.